All right, we're back on sports, and you know what? I have to say this right now. After what happened last night, because that's what we're going to start with. What happened last night was a joke, and a lot of people are saying it's rigged. And you know what? It is rigged at this point. There is no way. For those who know what I'm talking about, the NBA draft lottery, all right? The Milwaukee Bucks and my Sixers got screwed out of the first-round pick. Don't tell me it's okay for all that tanking that the Sixers did. Monumental losing streak that all we got was the third overall pick and the 10th overall pick. That is absolutely ridiculous. You know, if it came down to the Bucks getting it, okay, fine. You know what I mean? But there's no way that the Cleveland Cavaliers deserve to get it. And I thought it was just going to be one of those nights where Sixers fans would just be upset. But it wasn't just Sixers fans. It wasn't just Bucks fans. When you looked at the NBA's Twitter overall, NBA fans were mad. And pretty much this is how everybody reacted.
Man, this some old bullshit.
But that's not all. No. Since that happened, NBA fans took up in arms and made a petition, that's right, to investigate the NBA lottery. Now, it's only been since overnight, so there's still a lot of fans who are upset. And I thought that I was going to see a lot of fighting last night between the Cavaliers fan base and other fan bases. You know, oh, the Sixers fans are just crying, or the Milwaukee Bucks fans are just crying because we got the pick. But no, that wasn't the case, because even Cavs fans were shocked they got the #1 pick. They were shocked to even get to where they did. So they were just like, #1 pick, huh? Like, no one expected it. See, for those who don't understand the Cleveland Cavaliers' track record, ever since LeBron James left, all right, they had the first overall pick and the 4th overall pick. Then the year afterwards, they had the 4th overall pick. Then in 2013, they had the 1st overall pick again. And now in 2014, they're getting the 1st overall pick again. See, people are saying that now it's becoming rigged. It's clear estimation that they really do want to rebuild Cleveland. NBA is still trying to say, we're sorry that LeBron James, left. That's pretty much what they're doing. So yes, it's rigged. We can understand that, everyone expected, when LeBron left that first time, that people was going to say, hey, all right, we're going to give him the 1st round pick because of what happened. But you're still doing this. And people are upset now because the NBA is clearly showing how rigged it is. There's no, estimation to this. I really wanted to get Andrew Wiggins. I don't think we're going to get him now, as far as I'm concerned. We may get Jabari Parker. It depends. It depends on exactly who Cleveland takes. But listen to what Bill Simmons has to say, because this is an absolute reaction. This is right after the lottery pick. This is what Bill Simmons on ESPN had to say about the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Bill Simmons, can you talk? Can you put a sentence together to describe your thoughts on these results?
We need new rules. We just need new rules. This is the most incompetent team of the last 4 years. They hired Mike Brown with a 5-year deal and fired him after 1. They made all these mistakes. They screwed up some of their other picks, and then they get rewarded with the #1 again. I just think, enough. We're sorry LeBron left Cleveland, but enough with the karma for Cleveland. I wish anybody else had won. That's my rant.
Cavaliers fans, look, we felt bad for you then, all right? But 4 years of this, it's still going on. I have to agree with Bill Simmons. You can't keep making these mistakes, and not just the fans. I'm saying your front office. And I think that's the thing. Cavalier fans are not calling out their front office enough, all right, especially with their coaching and things of that nature. You keep making these mistakes and then expect, well, no, I can't say you expect to be rewarded, all right, because the fans, like I said, they didn't expect that, all right? They didn't expect the #1 pick. But for the organization to be rewarded like that is just, come on. That's not even in the interest of fairness at that point. It's just not. Let's be honest here. So we'll see what happens, come down the line. I will say this, though. Since the Sixers are, still, we have the 3rd overall pick and we have the 10th overall pick, understand, Sixers fans, there are a number of free agents that we can go out there and get. All right? There's about the top 15 free agents. I will put the link in the info bar for you. That's right. So the top 15 free agents, I personally, because we need a lot of depth, I personally would try to go after Sean Livingston. If we can't get him, go after Trevor Ariza. All right, I understand he's a restricted free agent, but I would really like to get Greg Monroe from Detroit. I would like to get him because we need that size and that type of strength. I would really like to get that. Sixers fans, as NBA fans in general, or basketball fans in general, I'll put the link in the info bar so you can see the top available. Vince Carter's available, and by no stretch of the means that he's so old that he can't do anything. All right, there is a number of free agents, Sean Marion, a number of free agents that can be used for depth, for bench, and and just whoever gives you the spark. Not to mention, we still have Jay Rich still trying to come back from from injury, which I don't know is going to happen or not. But there's a lot of things, like I said, seeing our squad the way it was this previous season, or I say previous season because our season's over. This previous season was just an absolute joke. They were too busy worried about, trying to do for them. And you had guys on the bench who were too busy celebrating and not getting any playing time, but they're comfortable with just celebrating on the bench. You need to have some depth. And I say it like this. If we don't get good players, and I mean free agents mixed with these draft picks that we're going to get, all right, this is going to take a 4-year process. But if the Sixers can do this, if their front office is aggressive when it comes to getting free agents and trying to get, let's say, build some depth, this could probably take 2 to 3 years. You can cut that in half. You can cut that slightly in half. Slightly. All right? Come on. You can do this, Sixers, but it depends. I'm going to keep up on this, all right? I know the Twitter GMs is watching and everything. I know, all right? But understand, when it comes down to this, there's a number of free agents that can make your team better. It's just a matter of getting them, selling them, I should say, to come to Philadelphia. This is why you need more of a community outreach, so that the players can see, hey, you're really serious about basketball. Because as we all know, ever since, Chris Webber, we've known if you want to get paid, come to Philadelphia, and play at low expectation, come to Philadelphia. It's our professional sports when it comes to basketball, we have really not cared for a very long time. So it's time to change that. If we're going to have a new culture here, then it's time to do it the right way. Now, I do want to move on, speaking of cultures and speaking of the interest of fairness. And I want to talk about this because this segment part is by special request by fans. In the previous weeks, I have talked about the Donald Sterling thing, and racial issues. And a lot of you keep asking. I thought we had solved this in the comments last week. We talked about it. But a lot of you still are sending me messages about talking about Stuart Scott and his racial comments. Now, look, I didn't think I had to talk about it because I thought it was common sense. What he said was wrong. Common sense. All right? I didn't think I had to talk about it. But apparently there was people who just, assumed that because I didn't talk about it, that I was okay with it. Which is the dumbest thing you could do, is assume. Okay? Stuart Scott, what he said was wrong. For him to say that what, other people say that aren't of color is racist. But when a black person or a Latino person or anyone of color says anything back equally as racist, you shouldn't take it as racism. You should take it as anger or hate. Now, there are a number of black people who do believe, like Reginald Hudlin, and for those who don't know who Reginald Hudlin is, he does the Black Panther comic books. He has helped devolve BET to what it is. I put it like this: if there was ever this black draft that a lot of people like to talk about, like Chappelle's show, he would be the first I'd get rid of. All right, but anyways, they have a tendency to think that black people or people of color cannot be racist due to the fact that they didn't start racism. They're only retaliating. I think that's garbage. All right, because I put it like this: if a person is hated for the color of their skin, all right, whether they're black, Latino, whatever, that's racist. If a person who is Caucasian is hated simply because of their pale skin color, that's racist. Do you understand that? You cannot beat ignorance with ignorance. What Stuart Scott tried to do was justify ignorance as opposed to other ignorance. It is a double standard. You cannot do that. Now, as many of you have said, he should be punished for what he said. Yes, he should. All right? If Donald Sterling is going to have his team taken away and all these type of things, yes. All right? Stuart Scott coming out and saying something like that, yes, he should. I guarantee you, and some of you said it too, if this was on another network and a person that wasn't of color had said something like that, they would be punished. I agree. It is time that we even the playing field. That's as far as I'm concerned. Stuart Scott is absolutely wrong for a man his age. And we're talking about Stuart Scott, because he talked about how, they're still in top in the media. Do people not understand, especially Stuart Scott, that he did fight a lot for ESPN and get that barbershop type talk in the ESPN. ESPN caught on to it, was like, all right, now we're going to do it all the way and try to be hip to the kids. That's what they tried to do, to make old men feel younger, to feel hip. That's what it was, all right? Stuart Scott created that. He did. But he has to realize when he is wrong. And I haven't seen an apology yet from him, really. That's the thing. There's been no punishment, really, nothing. I think that's wrong. I think if you're going to be a responsible adult, regardless of color, race, creed, whatever, you need to come out and say, hey, look yourself in the mirror and say, I was wrong for what I said. That's what you need to do, Stuart Scott. That is absolutely wrong from you. And that goes for any other black media personality, all right, that's on ESPN, like Stephen A. Smith. You know what I mean? People like that. You don't need to get up and really preach that much about racism. We've seen it. All right? We know what's going on. But like I said, this has been going on for 10, almost 20 years. And none of you, all right, other than, was it Chris Broussard, they said, we knew about it, but no one wanted to cover it. Well, then that should tell you now you need to start looking at people and saying, hey, look, this is a problem that we have within our media ranks. But nobody's doing that. I still don't think that this issue is over until, because we all know that the lawsuit has come with the NBA. Let that play out. Nobody, it's been weeks, nobody still has asked David Stern why he did not stop this years ago, before Adam Silver. Nobody. Why is this, media? So as far as I'm concerned, this is not over until David Stern is questioned. Now, not just questioned, but grilled. All right? Anyways, I do want to keep on basketball, and I want to talk about after we saw the draft lottery, okay? Because then, as we know, the Pacers and the Heat played, and this is where I come up with my Griffin Force flop of the week. That's right, because LeBron James, what is wrong with you? He got the flop of the week last week. I gave it to him, so now he's going 2 weeks in a row. That's right. Check this out, what LeBron James does when he tries to draw a foul. I can't consider someone like him, I said before, being the best in the world if that's what you have to do and try and get an advantage. You have to be kidding me. As far as I'm concerned, that is a black eye on basketball. And I don't like the fact that people still want to give this guy credit. Hey, can he score? Can he do all this? Yeah, he can do all that stuff. But you're flopping. The greats never had to flop. And that's why I will never consider him being that. Regardless of his scoring, regardless of the hype, regardless of how many fans kiss his ass, I don't care. If you have to flop, you automatically are written out of the books for me. That's how I feel. That's my opinion. Now, Miami Heat fans, I understand that you're thinking it's kind of unfair for me to just jump on LeBron James. Okay? So, what I'll do is, I'll oblige you a little bit. Because instead of just having one flop of the week, I should make it double. Because for anyone who saw the end of that Pacers game, Lance Stevenson, also, you have to be called out on your flop of the week. Which actually makes his flop of the week even worse than LeBron's. Why? Because you're at the end of the game, you need X amount of points, you fall on the ground when they need you to stay on your feet so you can try and shoot that three-pointer or give someone else a chance because you have to still be there to be a threat. Maybe it opens up somebody else. For you to lay on that ground and try to draw that foul, instead of getting down there and trying to score, is a problem. And I have a big problem with players doing this late in the game. You know, everyone knows, late in the game, all bets are off. People are going to do whatever the hell they have to do to try to score or win. We've seen time and time again, guys try to grab rebounds when a couple seconds left, and he will pull jerseys and everything and pull people down, and it's all-out madness. So, for you to try and draw a foul and lay there for that long, knowing there's only a couple seconds left, you're taking yourself out of the equation and you're hurting your own team. So, I put it like this. Lance Stevenson, ball hog. Yes. Is he effective when he scores? Yes. But he picked a hell of a wrong time to do what he did. That hurts his credibility with me. That's my opinion. Okay? Now, I want to move on to football real quick because I want to talk about Michael Sam. Talked about him not too long ago, and people thought it was, I was wrong for what I said about Michael Sam. And then you found out Michael Sam got a deal with Oprah. That's right. Now, the Rams said that they didn't know anything about this TV show that they were going to put on because he's worried about being a star than playing football. And a lot of writers are writing articles saying this too, all right? But now that we know that his show has been postponed, and I'm happy for it, because I put it like this, let that come later. Focus on football. See, you can't just be a football player, can you? You just can't. See, this is what happens when entertainment tries to stuff their claws into you. There was no reason that you need a reality show or a documentary or whatever. You don't, okay? The fact is, focus on football. Because like I said, you could be cut. You don't even know. But then again, there's a lot of people raising questions. Can you really cut him now since he's so popular? Can you do that? You don't know. Will somebody scream, oh, they don't like gays if he's cut? You really don't know what's going to happen. You don't. You don't know who's going to step up. Like I said, we've seen it for, since, the draft. We've seen people who don't like it simply because he's gay, and we see people who attack, the organizations for not picking him because he's gay. Like, you're always going to have these two extremes. You're always going to have it. Anyways, I'm happy to see that they decided to postpone that. He does not need that. Let him focus on football. Football player first, then you can become an entertainer or whatever. But understand, if you're going to, be an entertainer and an icon and all this other thing, understand what happened to T.O. and Ocho Cinco. Because they went that route and tried to be entertainers. Look where they're at now. Okay? Now, I want to move on to boxing. For those who did not see, Marquez versus Alvarado. I don't understand Mike Alvarado, what he was trying to do. For the first 7 rounds, he was scared to fight with Marquez. All right? He boxed. He didn't try to his, inside style of fighting. I understand he was afraid of Marquez's power, and Marquez's power is a problem. For those who saw what happened within the 8th round, where Marquez knocked down Alvarado, he didn't just knock him down. He knocked him damn near across the ring and out the ring. All right, under the ropes. It was crazy the way to see that happen. And then Alvarado apparently woke him up, and then he knocked down Marquez. You know what I mean? And then he almost knocked down Marquez again. So from rounds, I want to say 8 to 12 was a really good fight. But because it took so long for Alvarado to get started, that's what happened. He lost the fight because pretty much by the time you get to round 7, Marquez is on cruise control. He really is. Marquez, 39 years old? Almost 40? And he looked like he was the younger man in that ring at the time. Like, it was just crazy to see that. It goes to show you that if you're on top of your game, age does not matter. It's amazing how football will push you out. Running backs will push you out at 30, 31 maybe. Some guys are shortened career span of that. You have the NBA who tries to push you out around that time. You maybe have to about 33, 34, maybe 35. They'll push you out. Hockey, they let you stay. Look at Brodeur. They let you stay till your 40s. Boxing, they let you stay till your 40s, your 50s. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain sports that still allow this, but for some reason in certain organizations, they really try to cut you off. I don't understand. I never understood that. If you were an athlete, scratch that. If you were a competitor, like a warrior, you know what I mean? Every game you live for every, game on the line, every fight on the line, you can't just tell people to retire. You can't do that. It doesn't work that way. They will always find ways. Van Holyfield's still fighting, So I don't understand where, they get these type of things, but Marquez looked really good. And then they asked him after the fight, because he won the fight, all right? They asked him, will you fight Pacquiao again? And first, Marquez said no, he doesn't want to. He wants to leave it on the high note the way he did. You know what I mean? I understand that. But then he was like, I don't know, we'll have to see. As far as I'm concerned, since Adrian Broner, for those who don't know, Adrian Broner was suspended for his comments about what he said about Mexicans, all right, after he won his previous fight. Yeah. Why don't you feed him to Pacquiao? Let Pacquiao finish this dude off, as far as I'm concerned. All right, this guy doesn't, because, he came out also said he don't want to be the one to end Mayweather's winning streak. Are you serious? You couldn't beat Maidana. All right? You think you're going to end Mayweather's, winning streak? I guarantee you, if you put him in the ring with Pacquiao, Pacquiao will tear him apart. All right? Adrian Broner is just a loudmouth. He just really is. He's fought a bunch of nobodies. That's all he is. As far as I'm concerned, let this Broner-Pacquiao thing happen. I really want to see this happen. Also, in another fight we have coming up, Sergio Martinez versus Miguel Cotto. For anyone who saw the face-to-face with Max Kellerman, man, this is great. All right? The looks on their faces. Personally, I'm taking Sergio Martinez, all right? Simply because he's the better boxer. Cotto has had bigger names and bigger fights. Granted, he has been to Madison Square Garden. He has done it. Cotto's done it all. You can't take anything away from him. He has power. But Sergio Martinez is so fast. I'm going to take him every time, all right? And he, as a boxer, I think this is going to be more of the De La Hoya versus Trinidad type style, okay? And we saw that also with Mayweather and Maidana. Boxer versus stalker trying to just beat people up. You know what I mean? That's what we saw. I think this is going to be the same way. I put it like this. If Sergio Martinez can keep his cool and just box his match instead of getting this slugfest, because we saw that when he tried to fight Chavez Jr., and we saw what happened. He got knocked down. You don't want to go toe-to-toe with someone who has power like Cotto. You don't want to do that, okay? Cotto is the slower fighter. Martinez is faster, but he's the better technical boxer. I'm going to take Martinez 9 times out of 10. As long as he can keep his cool. All right? Also, I want to talk about Bellator real quick. Bellator MMA, what is it? I want to say this now. All right? They put on a good show from the prelims up till the last 2 fights. Snooze fests. All right? First off, why are you putting Tito Ortiz in a fight with a guy who's pretty much a middleweight? He calls him out, and the guy can't even make weight. He can't even make 205. The highest he got was 201. All right? And understand, when they got in the ring, Ortiz looked like a giant compared to this guy. All right? The guy was inexperienced, and he didn't know what he was doing. Now, I'll put it like this. Tito Ortiz took a lot of offensive strikes, all right? He almost looked like Hendo for a minute out there, just taking punches and not really defending correctly, you know, and just hoping he would catch it. But once they got on the ground, it was pretty much over. Tito Ortiz won and talked about how he was back, and I understand he's on the high of, you know, of that win, but you're not back yet, Tito. You're not. You need to fight some caliber fighters, okay? You just can't beat up on a middleweight, pretty much, you know, and pretty much say that you're the best, or that you're back and all this other stuff. You were 39 years old. Stop that. Now, also, I want to talk about Rampage and King Mo. I had picked King Mo for this fight. I said on Twitter, because I thought that he was going to take him to the ground. No way. All that trash talking they were doing, he's like, oh, I'm going to knock him out, I'm going to knock him out. I'm like, no, you're going to take him to the ground. You do not want to fight Rampage in that type of slugfest. He has too much power. And the first thing King Mo did was as soon as they start, what do? Take him to the ground. Come on. Like, we were not fooled. Or at least I was not fooled. He really didn't want to stand with Rampage and throw. We know this. However, the win went to Rampage. And then for like 10 minutes afterwards, they still kept talking and kept arguing, calling each other names and all this. And I'm thinking to myself, you could have had, because it was a 3-round fight, for all this talk you guys had, you could have fought for an extra 2 rounds. Understand that that wasn't the main event of the fight, okay? That was actually the undercard, but because they're bigger names, they got the last draw. The main event of the fight was the championship fight that went 5 rounds. And that was a snooze fest, okay? But Rampage and King Mo, will they do it again? I don't know. But you can't have this much talking going on before and then after the fight. You can't. When both of you pretty much did nothing. You pretty much did nothing. No one did anything really. You know, you try to take him down, they wrestle, they get stuck up against the cage, nothing happened. There's a couple punches thrown here and there, and then backing up against the cage, and then I don't get it. But Rampage won. We'll see where it goes from here. Anyways, I'm done. Like I said, Bellator had a good night outside of that, because a lot of submissions were put on appropriately. It wasn't like guys were fighting out of submissions, you know, like we see in UFC. No, when those guys got those submissions in, that was it. It was over. There was no getting away from it. They were very crisp, very precise about it. We saw a lot of finishes that night, you know what I mean? As opposed to the main event draws that didn't really do well. But everyone else did their job. Anyways, I'm done. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.